Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Back at you, Gloves Off, and today we got a great guest, a great friend, and we're looking at his campaign for Webb County Republican chair. We're going to talk about what's going on and everything else. How we doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me, Paul.
No. Hey, anytime. You're part of the family. That's the way it is. You know.
Thank you.
And I was glad to hear that you were going to run, and because we need a change there. We need a change we need a balance. With the Republicans. So tell me, what got you started? What happened?
Well, it's I've seen the party kind of the numbers kind of go down in our party. At one point, we were headed up. Trajectory was up for precinct chairs. We were up to 23. Now we're down to about 7. I know that the turnout for some of our meetings is not as good as it has been in the past, but the funny thing is this, Paul, that if you look at the number, and people might say, well, the reason you don't have Republicans in your party is because you have no Republicans in Webb. But that's not necessarily the case, because if you look at the 2012 election between Obama and Romney, you had Obama winning by 74%, Romney losing by like 22%. And then you look at Hillary and Trump in 2016, Hillary won by 71%, I believe, 72%, and Trump won by lost by 22 point something. But Biden and Trump in 2020, Biden won by 61%, and Trump was at 38.9 or 37.8, something like that. So that means that we're making strides. Where there are Republicans. The Trump train, do you remember the Trump train a few years ago? Thousands of people showed up. Why did that not translate into more numbers into the Republican Party? That's, I think, where it's at.
No, you're right on that. And I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of things here in Laredo, a lot of Democrats are actually conservative.
Yes.
You have a lot of conservatives. And a lot of people say, no, we don't. Yes, we do. So I look at things as a pendulum. Mm-hmm. And 50%, you can say Democrats, Republicans, right? But if you take that and you cut it at 50%, each one of them, that part at the bottom is the conservatives that we have in Webb County. So the conservatives can go Republican, can go Democrat, can go either way.
Yes.
And you see that a lot with the state and national election candidates.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you have a high percentage voting for the Republican side and a lower percentage voting for. But when you see it on the local area, most of everybody votes Democrat, and the reason is because you don't have any Republicans in any position. And it's very hard. I see it in a different way, because I've seen the Republican Party really never take off. I mean, they haven't won a candidate here probably 30 years, and it's the lack of play that is given to to the community. And I hope that changes. And I might, and I'm gonna say it straightforward, it's that change of, oh, we're going over there, we're gonna help those Mexicans that live in Laredo. That's what I get from the Anglos that come from the north side and the Republican side. You're not helping anybody, buddy. Okay? And they have an attitude like, oh, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna give you all a free brisket taco and you guys gonna vote for me. It ain't gonna happen. You can take that taco and shove it. And what I'm saying that is the actual involvement in the community. You don't see that. You don't see that by any of the candidates that come in. You started to see it by some of them.
Yes.
And what do I mean by that? There's a lot of funerals that go on. You see a lot of Democrats that are inside the funerals and helping, a lot of the elected officials helping with funerals. There's a kids' baseball team coming. They're in small businesses and as well as candidates are giving it to those. Cheerleading, league clubs, they're always helping.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden these candidates come out here and instead of shooting for school board or shooting for city council or commissioners or what have you, everybody wants to shoot for U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress and intergalactic representative. And wait a minute, you have to start small and hopefully with the, and I see you, and I'm talking a little bit more, and I'm going to let them talk. I see you and the way you are, hopefully you can get that started. That's basically what we need.
You know, Paul, you hit the nail on the head when you say that sometimes we as Republicans, we get so concerned and so wound up, and you see it on social media. Something happened in Pennsylvania to President Trump. Something happened in Georgia about the laws changing in elections. Something happened in Arizona. All these things get us all worked up, and we want to do something about it. But except it's in Pennsylvania, it's in Georgia, it's in Arizona. We have our own backyard that we need to pay more attention to. Absolutely. We have our school board. We can still push for more conservative values at school boards. Look at what's going on all across America. People are questioning school boards and what they're doing, especially what was exposed during COVID. We have our city council. City council right now, I think, have a proposal to spend $15,000 on a mural. Is that what is best for the city? We need to get involved in those things. The Webb County Republican Party had started to do that with some of the issues, but we need to do that with all the issues that touch Laredoans and people of Webb. Now, the other thing is this, Paul, you're right. When there's something that goes on, we are the party that embraces religion, and religion is a lot of giving to other people. We need to be and set the example and be at the forefront of, when there's a need, when there's a heat wave or there's a power outage or whatever, we need to be able to provide fans for people. We need to be able to provide heaters for people. We need to be able to help distribute, even if we don't fund it ourselves, but we need to be there to help the community. When teachers go back to school, when students go back to school, have a little something for them to start, because we think that education is important and we believe in education. So you're right, we've been missing from that particular aspect, the community, the local, because like they say, all politics is local. So we need to be more present and leave a better footprint in that area.
Absolutely. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that crossover of the bottom percent, that 100%, 50 on both sides, those are conservatives.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And those conservatives need to stand up. Problem that I see in Webb County and in Laredo is that the vast majority of people that vote either work for some type of municipality. Either they work for the city of Laredo because they're kind of forced to vote. Mm-hmm. You can't really pinpoint it, but basically that's the idea. That's what you get from them. Webb County, you have to vote because a lot of those jobs depend on an elected official that you're working for. So of course people are going to go out and vote. School districts, in some school districts, they're kind of told that they have to vote and they have to see and they'll list, and people say, how can they see that? There's voter registration lists. You go out there and buy them. Hey, you know why you didn't vote? They'll call you. Hey, how come you haven't voted? Mm-hmm. How come you haven't done this? How come you haven't, and you have that. And when you have a lopsided party leading,
yes,
you start getting into nefarious actions.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Republicans don't do it. If it was flipped on the other side, then you start seeing a lot of.
But you can't blame them here.
You can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No, I understand. But
Yeah.
so it really doesn't matter. Just once it's lopsided,
Yes.
you're going to start seeing a lot of that. Think why? Because everybody's protecting each other, and unfortunately, the voter turnout is very low. I agree with you with what you said with the Trump train, but they were voting for Trump.
Yes.
If Trump is removed from the ballot, I don't know if we're going to have that many people in there. But this year's a little different. You have a lot of people that questioned federally. Here we always question
Yes.
the election's integrity. Here it was proven that we had bad elections, and it's not because of a candidate. It was because of what police officers did
Yes.
to get a candidate elected. So, and nothing was done. Nothing was done by the Republicans up in the state. Nothing was done. And so what gets me is everybody claims and cries for election integrity.
Yes.
And everybody gets on Facebook and puts everything else, but nothing's being done by the leaders that we have right now in the Republican Party anyway.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? They're like, who cares? You know, it's happening over there. No, it's a big thing. Do I see a change? I think you're going to see a lot of people that were elected not be there again. Okay? And you're going to see that on the national level, the state and national level. You're going to see that change real quick because people, the voters this time around, they're out for blood.
Yes.
A lot of people say, no, they're not. They're angry. And you see it, you see their actions, you see the way they are.
And you're right, Paul, that right now is the time that there can be a change. I feel that there's a change, Paul. I feel that something is going to happen. It's going to upset the party that is in power, but it's inevitable. And you touched on something else. You said that about Democrats, being conservative and so forth. If you look at the people that are on my team, helping my campaign, who did they vote for? Hillary versus Trump. They voted for Hillary. Another person, oh yeah, I used to vote Democrat all the time, but they have become disenchanted. What happened during COVID exposed a lot of stuff that it should be a celebration for us. And all these people, and this is the people that I'm going to talk to, that I want to talk to. Those are the Democrat voters. Whether they speak in English, hablen español, sea lo que sea, but we're going to talk to all the Democrat voters and let them know these are the issues. These are the facts. Because we have the receipts for all that. We have the studies that say that school closures were really bad. The terrible idea. I could have told you that. I don't even need a study. But I could have told you.
Right?
I was a former assistant principal, correct. 31-year educator.
So that you see, that's what happens. You see the there's a lot of in there the care for small businesses. I'm a small business owner. I've always worked for myself.
And all jobs were essential.
And all of a sudden they started pushing you out, and you were not. You're not. What was it? What did they use? Not a. What was that term that they were using?
The
non-essential.
Non-essential.
And the non-essentials were the ones who were being elected. I mean, they destroyed Laredo. I mean, the small businesses here are faulting. I don't know what bubble they live in. I mean, it's outrageous.
Every job is essential.
Exactly.
Because every job puts food on the table.
Sure. But what happens is that aside from that, it educated a lot of people to start questioning. Those that didn't question started questioning. Those that questioned too much basically said, okay, I'm going to continue being this way. I'm going to continue doing my analysis. There's a lot of conspiracies that went out. Some of them became true. Some of them are still conspiracies. There's a lot of psyops going on with a lot of things that are going, and people do not believe it. And I don't want to get into that, but I want to get into how to get voters to go out there and vote. Here in Laredo and Webb County, the voters, if they don't belong to a municipality group, one of them, they're not going to go out and vote. Very few of them will. Very, very few will. Very, very few in comparison to the vast numbers. And they're usually because somebody told them, hey, my job's on the line, can you help me vote for this person? And that's what happens. I mean, you have a judicial system here that's in shambles. the local law enforcement. We have good ones. We have to start gaining ourselves to protecting them. Our children have been being mistreated and lack of, and their civil rights have been violated in one of the school districts. You're like, and people are, no, we need to actually start getting in control. And I don't think it's more of a Republicans do it better than Democrats. I just think we just have to start getting everything back into control.
And I think that's one of the points that we want to drive across. A lot of the policies that the Republicans have are good policies. I'm not saying that all of them or that all Republicans, but a lot of the good conservative policies have been good for the nation. And all you need to do is look at the Trump years. Were the Trump years better? Were you better off under Trump than under Biden? And the answer is unquestionably, we were way better off. We have a border that is broken, a border system that is broken. We've left billions of dollars back in Afghanistan as far as weapons are concerned. We left Apache helicopters, planes, ammunition. We had night vision. That was one of our biggest advantages against other armies. Night vision, advanced night vision. We left that behind. And we were giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine that are just wasted money, and the taxpayer keeps just paying and paying and paying. And these are all Democrat policies. And sometimes, even locally, some of these policies are supported, like the open borders. I know a lot of city council meetings, they wanted, okay, let's sue over the wall. Okay, let's spend taxpayers' money. But if we are concerned about human trafficking, all the drug overdoses that we said, I think a record was 65. I think 2 years prior we were like 13 overdoses. Now we're at 65. But you still want to keep the border open? That does not make sense.
We're the biggest inland port of both legal and illegal commodities. And what happens is that a lot of people have properties on the river.
Yes.
And a lot of them don't want to get those rights infringed. But, you have to realize the riparian and rights and the rights of the nation and so on and so forth and what is safer. Everybody doesn't want to take fault that, the Mexican people are beautiful people. It's a beautiful culture. The government's astray. It's been astray for many, many years. And if people realize their history, they weren't with us in World War I. They were talking with the Nazis in World War II until we kind of twerked them over, and then they came on with us. So they really haven't been our best friends. Mm-hmm. They're our neighbors. But I have a fence in the house to keep stuff from my neighbors. I have burglar bars at the house to keep stuff from out there. I got one neighbor that's the greatest person in the world, and the other neighbor, his kids are the biggest, they're wearing orange jumpsuits, And what happens? You have to realize who your neighbors are. And I'm not talking bad about Mexicans, believe this, not one bit. And that's where people start saying, oh, they're talking about Mexicanos. No, it's not. They have to have that responsibility as well. And the Mexican government does not have that responsibility, especially with immigration, because people from Pakistan and Sudan and the Congo and throughout Africa, Senegal and Somalia and Pakistan. I never knew that we were borders to them, that we had a border to them. I never knew that. I thought they were in across the other side of the world, in another continent.
Yes.
Okay? We live in North America. Mexico's North America.
Chinese people are
that's
US.
another continent.
Yes.
You see, and what happens? I never knew that they were part of North America. They bordered us. Understand? So we have a problem, and they have to take responsibility for it. I also understand that we're the number one country in the world, and people want to come here, but we have to do it legally. Our immigration system is shot.
No, completely.
It's shot. And it's shot more ways than one, and it's been something that when Republicans were in power, they never did anything about it. They didn't do anything about it. When Democrats were in power, they didn't do anything about it because they both wanted those votes. Now we have a problem. And until we see the crime rate raise so much and becomes violent here in Laredo that those same city councilmen that were prancing around with this and this are going to be shouting out that there's too much crime. And until that happens, they're like St. Thomas. They have to stick their finger in the wound of Jesus. And once they find the doubters, you understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
So that's just the way I look at things.
Yeah. And you know, what's funny is that the overdoses should be a big concern. I know they're addressing it, but they're not doing anything about the border. So you're doing something about the people who are hooked on drugs, but you're not doing anything about stopping them before they get hooked on the drugs. The other thing is we were so worried about COVID. Remember at the onset when the Biden administration started, we were very, very worried about COVID. Yet here they're letting people in without vaccines, without some of them without testing. And I know because I know people who worked at the NGOs. And they told me this is what we have. That's why they cover paper. That's why they they respect us and they put sheets and everything because they didn't want you to see that they were all overcrowded. This at a time when they were saying if you don't put on a mask, it's like killing somebody.
Listen, those years of 2020 and 2021.
Yes.
Let me realize what occurred to the men that were wearing policemen. That all of a sudden, what occurred in Nazi Germany, and how it took off in a different way. If we would have had some type of dictator, some type of tyrant government like they did with the Nazi government and Hitler, you would have seen that type of behavior here, because you had that behavior already. If they would have started carting off people that hadn't taken any boosters or hadn't taken anything and they had all licenses, believe me, they'll be coming and knocking on your door. And people were turning against each other and some small businesses. It was pathetic to watch.
Oh, then you had those little tyrants.
We had them. And we still have them.
Yes.
And the problem is it exposed them.
Yes.
And it exposed what type, is that where we want to go or is not? So I think there's good people voting. We just need to get good people inside. The Republican Party here has to change its membership and how they take care of people. We can't be too pompous and say, I'm Republican, you're down there. We can't have that, okay? Because then we're just going to look like the other side. And let me tell you what I did this year. After I found out and it came out in the newspaper and everything that those police officers had done that to stack ballots on a vote.
Yes.
I said the votes here, they just provided me with the information that the elections here are tainted, and I don't want no business part of it. No. So I went over there and I told them, here's the law, remove my name from the ballot. Just take me off. I'm not going to vote. I don't care two shits about it. Okay, I'll help anybody in their campaign, but for me personally, go out and vote, no, because it's a wasted vote. But we do need people, because I do believe that we need individuals in there. Maybe one day I'll go back in there and put my name back on.
Well, I hope you do. But I realize that a non-vote is also a vote.
Yeah. And we have a lot of people non-votes here in Laredo, more so than people that vote.
Yes.
Because we had about 170,000 people that are registered voters, somewhere around there. And you only have maybe on the presidential election about 30,000 people voting. It's pretty bad.
So we need to increase the get out the vote for Republicans. We need to do a better job. And I'm not saying anybody else. I'm saying we in general, including myself. We need to do that. We need to be able to reach Democrats. We need to be able to talk to them, English, Spanish, whatever. But that's what we're planning to do when I win.
And those Republicans that are coming in from out of town, you all have to get involved with the community. You all have to basically say, you know what? When are the games up there? Who are the glee clubs? Start sponsoring those things to get your name known. You're not, okay, we're going to put advertisement in the Laredo newspaper. Nobody reads it. It's online. Get involved with the local. If you want to advertise with me, you can. If you want to advertise with somebody else, do so. I'm not here promoting that, because I what I'm saying is get involved, put your advertising money out. Because number one, nobody knows you and nobody cares about your free brisket taco. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious.
Yes.
No, oh, we're gonna get them all voted because we can slice by slice. You know what? Stick it. Get involved in the community. Start doing something.
Yeah. And Republicans also need to change because the game has changed. It's not like the 1980s anymore that you stick a sign in front of your home, donate $20 and go vote on election day. The game has totally changed. And I hear some people posting, thank God for the silent majority. We are where we are because we for so long took pride in being the silent majority. If pretty soon we were now the silent minority as far as conservatives go. So we need to start being more outspoken. We need to be honest about what the problems are. We can't sugarcoat it. We don't want to offend this group. We don't look at transgenderism. Nobody wanted to offend anybody that when they say, well, I'm this or I'm that or whatever. And you're an adult, well, you're an adult. But when you're doing it to kids, that's when you cross the line. When you're encouraging kids, that's when you cross the line. When you're allowing medical procedures for them that they cannot go back to where they were before, that's when you're crossing, or medications, that's when you're crossing the line. And you need to say something. So there's been a lot of people, and unfortunately, it's not been politicians who have spread the word. There's been people like Matt Walsh, Joe Rogan, Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson. All those people who have spread the word. They've become the new media.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People are listening to them a lot more. Thank God. And
Thank God.
they have influenced me to continue moving forward with this.
Good.
But on another note, our Republican heads in Austin never did anything about that either. They've sat on their laurels and did nothing about the mutilation of children and stuff like that. They have done nothing.
Yeah. They've moved on it, but they waited too long. The same thing with COVID. They've also
moved out of the room because they haven't done anything. No, it's serious. I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You tackle these problems when they come up, not because it's a political issue.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, we have fentanyl being spread out everywhere else. We have a vaping crisis being spread out everything else. We have school districts that are school to prison pipeline districts. And when you talk to them, they're like...
We just had a 15-year-old die of fentanyl.
And not only that, and you got now they prey on our kids and they make them on vaping. That's worse. Mm-hmm. Laws now. I mean, what are you really doing? And you're a Republican? Mm-hmm. Have you seen the laws that they just passed on that?
No, not on vaping.
And these were the Republicans that did it. Mm-hmm. The Republicans have to. You can't be like, I'm a Republican. I'm going to stick my head in the ground like an ostrich. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to face it. You have to face the things that are out there, not when they become a political issue.
Mm-hmm. And that's true. I haven't always seen the courage from many of them. And that's one of the complaints that I keep hearing. Where's the courage to do this? Where is the courage to do that? And I tell them, you know what? Primaries, you need to, as a Republican, you need to vote in the Republican primary because you don't get the representation if you keep voting Democrat. And I used to do that. I blame myself too because I used to do that. I remember when I was young, a gentleman told me, an older Republican told me, he gathered some of us together and he said, okay, you're a Republican. This is what you do. You vote Democrat in the primary and you vote Republican in the general. So I did it because an older, smarter, experienced person, Republican, told me that.
You know why? Because here in Laredo, you had no Republicans running in the local elections, so you had to do that, and they still do that now.
And not necessarily because you do have people complaining. Like, let's say one candidate, one senator. Some people are saying, they were telling me, well, this senator, I don't like the senator, and this and that. And I said, whom did you vote for in the primary? Well, he was the only one on the back. No, he was the only one in the general election. Who did you vote for in the primary? And I didn't vote in the primary. I said, that's why. You had your choice to pick the other person, and you didn't, so this other person wins. So we need to vote in primaries.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see a ballot that has all the names. And just right next to it, a D, an L, an R, or a G, or what have you, next to the name. But you list all the names. I don't care if there's 50 names. You put all the 50 names up there, and you go in there and you pick whichever one. Here, They segregate you. Oh, you're Republican, you have to go over here. Oh, you're a Democrat, you have to go over here. Then all of a sudden, well, guess what? You found out that the candidate in the Republican Party or the Democrat Party they won't allow you to go for runoff. They won't allow you're already segregated to just one. No, make it open. Make the ballot open to all, not segregate them.
And then there's pluses and minuses to that. I've kind of looked at it a little bit. You know, it could be that no Republican would then be on the ballot. You know, it would be Democrat versus Democrat, or well, just one Democrat, right? And you don't get the Republican representation or a choice in the general. So it's got its pluses and minuses.
But the problem that you have with that is that's the way the election should be anyway. Because when you get up there and you're a Democrat, you still have to represent the Republican constituents that you have.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're a Republican, you have to represent the Democrat constituents that you have.
And it would be good
You
if
know
they
what
were
I'm saying? So
yeah.
either or, you still have to. Oh, you're not going to represent this small business because he's that or he's a conservative. No? That's what we're. That's that type of voting has. That's what it has cost. Put everybody together.
And I think what some people are concerned are like, will they treat us as equal citizens? If you look at cases like, let's say January 6th, that's a good example. What was the punishment for somebody who broke a window on January 6th? Well, you may have gotten 3 years for breaking a window on January 6th. Or BLM, you may not have even you just got booked and released. And that was it. And here the FBI doesn't even touch you, but you broke a window on January 6th, you get the FBI. There was that guy, Ray Epps, the guy who was going around and it's on everybody's video telling people to go into the Capitol. That guy got 6 months, whereas this other dude who didn't even show up got 20 years, and the guy didn't even show up.
Yeah, you're correct on that. I don't know if anybody has seen an interview with Tucker and with Congressman Higgins from Louisiana, and he looked and he's studying on top of the committee, and that congressman says we have a problem. There were so many FBI assets that were inside, and sometimes these arms of law enforcement. I see the FBI federally. What I used to see at the local police office for the municipal government and the constables and sheriffs in the past for the county. Those were the people that were oppressing and pushing in people in different ways. Now the FBI is doing it. But that it's obvious doing it.
Yes.
But here, in the past, used to have the Webb County Sheriff's Office, in the past sheriffs, that were the ones that were being the bullies out there and enforcing and harassing and everything else, or the constables because of so-and-so, and the Laredo PD doing the same thing, blackballing small businesses. You had that. So now you start seeing it in the federal level. That's scary, because I saw that. I saw that growing up here. I saw that when I came back here and thing. It has stopped in the last 8 years forward this way. It has stopped,
yes.
Because they've gotten control, because they had a type of culture that was there, that's what they did. And people say, you can't talk that way. Oh, of course I can. Those are my experiences. Yes. That's what I saw. That's what I witnessed.
I experienced a little bit.
I'm not saying false testimony.
Yeah.
That's what I experienced.
I experienced a little bit of it, maybe early 80s, the professionalism I think is more different now, Recently I was pulled over for a headlight, and of course I was polite and stuff, and I said, okay, just make sure that you get it fixed. No. And I did, immediately I bought the bulb and changed it the following morning.
And we have some good police officers. I was at the police station yesterday doing a report. But why? Because they're getting new people inside.
And that's good.
But you still have the old ones that are in there. They just have to, let's protect our good officers, our good badges.
Correct. I agree.
100%. Bad badges, we have to do something. That's a different topic. But what I'm saying is, that culture
Yes.
is now you're seeing it over here, and that's very scary.
It is.
And,
Because they have unlimited power. They have unlimited funding. We don't. I can't.
You
If
know,
I'm an investigator, I can't keep a lawyer for 4, 5, 6 years.
No, you can't. And the lawyers you get here, they'll flip on you in a heartbeat. But so it's very sad. But again, to tell the folks out there, I'm very glad that you're running for the Republican Party, folks. If you're a Republican, I don't know if anybody else is running, but vote for Jose. I don't know if
I have
anybody-
an opponent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, Jose's a good man. We need to bring up the Republican Party here and get some balance. And for those Republicans out there in the state, you have to, that are running for federal and stuff like that, you have to get involved with the local politics here in Laredo. Don't come over here with that attitude of, well, we're gonna give you a brisket taco, okay? Believe me, it ain't gonna work,
Yes, sir. You're right.
okay?
You're right.
So, we'll see it.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. The podcasting, the truth telling. You guys on the front lines. You guys are spreading the word. It's working. It's getting to the people.
Thanks. And folks, how do we leave you? You all be safe, stay safe, and God bless you. Till next time. Thank you.
One of the reasons I joined Putron Academy here and enrolled my son is the legitimacy of the school.
No tenemos palabras maravillosas, sinceramente no tenemos ninguna palabra negativa, estamos totalmente agradecidos. Lo único que yo podría decir como madre es que se animen completamente a venir a traer a sus hijos aquí a la academia. Totalmente, es una experiencia muy bonita.
Overall, the academy is I've had a great experience with it. And I would encourage anyone who would want to become a better version of themselves to join.